A Taste of Psychology with Professor Sims. Greetings, beautiful people. In this slideshow, I'm going to go over some of the topics we're going to be talking about over the next 16 weeks. I'll mention the required textbook. I'll talk about my office hours and my educational background. And I'll even give you some tidbits on how to be successful. Please watch the whole video because I do mention grades and assignments and even the calendar of events. So as the semester progresses, hopefully you'll be able to notice a difference in the quality of these videos. But, you know, I'm trying. Greetings, beautiful people. My name is Amira Sims, and I'll be your instructor this semester. My educational background is that I earned both my bachelor's and master's degree in psychology from Valdosta State University, and I'm currently pursuing a PhD in educational psychology. I started teaching at the college level back in 2003, and I've taught a lot of different classes at a lot of different institutions in several different states. My teaching philosophy is here on the slide, and my tagline is "Learning is my thing." This semester, I'm really looking forward to exploring psychology with you. And if you need to get in touch with me, you can do so via email at simsa@cf.edu. On the next slide, I'll go over my office hours. So this semester, I'll be hosting virtual office hours on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 9 to 11 a.m. and Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 to 11 a.m. I will also be available from 3 to 5 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. If you need to get in touch with me, the best way to contact me is via email at simsa@cf.edu. You can also leave me a voicemail. My extension is 1612, and I will get back with you via email. If you want to meet for office hours, we can do that via Zoom, or we can do it via Canvas chat, or we can go back and forth via email, whatever works. The required textbook for this course is Exploring Psychology, 11th edition. The authors are David Myers and Nathan Dewall. In this class, we're going to discuss a lot of different topics, but general psychology is such a big topic. We really are only going to get to pick and choose a few of these topics that are listed on this slide. So as you can see, there's 5 pillars of psychology: biological, cognitive, developmental, social and personality, and mental and physical health. And our goal is to address at least 2 topics in each of these pillars. You matter to me, your grade matters to you. I really encourage you to take a look at the module that's dedicated to grades. Also, in Canvas, there's a hyperlink on the left-hand side of the page where you can check your grade at any point during this term. Now, in order to get an A in the class, you will have to earn between 540 and 600 points. If you earn between 480 and 539 points, you'll get a B. Between 420 and 479, a C. 360 to 319, a D. And 359 and below is not passing. So, sometimes students are super eager to get that A, but to really get an A, that means that you were exceptional. Assessments. So there are several ways to earn points. We'll start with tests. There are 2 tests in this class, and basically the first is the midterm and the second is the final. Each test is worth 100 points, so that's a total of 200 points. If you miss the first test, you can take an alternate at the end of the semester, and that score will sub in for the missed test. If you do poorly on the first test, you can take an alternate at the end, and I will average your first and second attempt. Okay, so that's 200 points. There's no makeup for missing the final exam. All right, another way to earn points is by completing a paper. Now, this paper is broken into several smaller assignments. So basically, you're going to have P1, which is you're going to select a topic that is of interest to you and relevant for a general psychology class. P2, which is where you'll find resources, scholarly resources, that will help you to better understand your topic, and you'll complete an annotated bibliography. P3 is where you'll do an outline of the paper, and then P4 is the actual summary of the paper. You don't actually write the full paper, you basically turn in an abstract. But by the time you do the selected topic, which is forcing you to narrow down your topic and to be specific and identify your biases and also develop a research question, and then do the annotated bibliography and come up with the structure or the outline. By the time you do all of that, writing the summary or the abstract will be relatively easy. All right, so that's how you earn 100 points. So where half of the points in the class comes from you taking 2 tests, which is an individual assignment, and you completing a paper, which is an individual assignment. Now the other half of the class, actually there's one more thing I want to mention. There's also some achieve assignments, and these achieve assignments are also an individual activity. And they're just various activities. Sometimes there'll be questions like in the form of an adaptive quiz. Other times there will be articles or videos that you'll read and interact with some software via the Macmillan Learning Platform. And this is how you'll get another 100 points. So actually 400 points in this class comes from individual efforts. Now the other 200 points comes from you being a part of a learning community. Okay, now in terms of class participation, you're going to be asked to create an initial post where you select from a few options what you want to, do, and then you respond in a substantive way. And then after you make that post, you'll basically respond to 2 other class members' posts and also in a substantive way. And that's how you'll get up to 100 points. All right, so that's 500 points so far. The last 100 points comes from being in a group, and you were assigned a group, and you and your group members are required to research an assigned topic and to put together a presentation that is the equivalent of a 15-minute oral presentation. Now, because we're online, this presentation can be just a PowerPoint with speaker's notes, or it could be a Zoom call, could be a video that you guys create, or it could be a Prezi. But basically it's the equivalent of a 15-minute presentation, and it is a research assignment. So that's how you get your last 100 points. Okay, so the B term is an 8-week mini-mester. So basically instead of having 16 weeks, you have 8 weeks to accomplish what people who signed up for a C term class will accomplish in the B term. All right, so in the first week, you have 3 main assignments. You're going to basically read the syllabus and complete a syllabus quiz. You'll earn 10 points for completing the syllabus quiz. You'll also introduce yourself to me and to your fellow class members, and you'll read about your fellow class members and see who's in the class and respond to their initial posts, their introductions. You'll get 5 points for this. The last thing you'll do in week 1 is that you will log into the Macmillan platform and click on Achieve, and you will use the course code and access code that I'm giving you via the announcements, and you will basically complete some assigned activities in Achieve, and you'll earn up to 20 points for completing these activities. Now, the Achieve activities are a 2-step process. First, you're going to log into Achieve, and you're going to do this from the Canvas webpage, right, from our Canvas course homeroom. And click on Macmillan, and then click on Achieve, and then once you're in, you can go by content or by assignment, and you'll complete the assignments. Then you're going to log in back into Canvas, and you're going to reflect on what you learned. So I think personally it's better if you do it in a two-part, like maybe do the Achieve assignments over the period of a week instead of trying to do it all in one day, and then do your reflection at the end of the week. But the reflection and the assignments together will yield 20 points. So in the first week of the semester, you can earn 35 points. All right, in week 2, we are on spring break. So I don't know about you, but I'm happy for spring break. So I won't be available during spring break, but we'll be back in week 3. In week 3, you have 4 assignments. So you have been assigned a group already as the term began, but in week 3, I'm asking that your group create a group charter. And I'm going to give you more details about the group charter in another video or via an announcement. But you and your group members will basically get together and set the ground rules for your group, and you'll get 5 points for doing that. Next, you'll have a discussion that you need to participate in, and this will be based on the topics that we are, reviewing. And you'll get 10 points for doing that. You'll have Achieve 2, which is worth 20 points, and it's the same process that you went through in week 1. And then you'll have P1, which is worth 10 points. P1 is the first part of the paper assignment. So in P1, this is where you select a topic that is of interest to you and that's relevant for psychology. Often students will say, well, I don't know what I want to do my paper on. Miss Sims, what should I do my paper on? Well, I would say if you already know what your major is, if you already have a career aspiration, go ahead and do your paper on something that connects your career goal with psychology. Okay, so if you want to be a nurse, you might decide to look up psychiatric disorders. All right, suppose you decided you were going to go into interior design. You might want to look into how the environment and how people's spaces affect their mental, their mind or their thinking and their acting or behaving. But basically, psychology gels well with pretty much all disciplines. So you're basically connecting psychology with, whatever you are interested in. Now, if you're going to major in psychology, well, you can use our textbook as a starting point because any topic in the textbook is fair game. And in P1, you're going to narrow that topic and become very focused on what you're going to eventually research. All right, moving on to week 4. You have 3 assignments due this week in week 4, and you will have an opportunity to earn 55 points. So in P1, you selected your topic. In P2, you actually research your topic a little bit. You find 4 resources that are scholarly. So in other words, they're valid and they're reliable resources. And you're going to basically tell me about how these resources are going to be helpful for you as you complete your paper. You earn 20 points for doing this. You will also have an Achieve 3 assignment. These are the activities, same as the previous weeks. You're going to be reading your textbook. You're going to be watching videos. You're going to, interact with the information. And you can get 20 points for that. And the last way to earn points in week 4 is with Discussion 2. Discussion 2 will be very similar to Discussion 1. The difference is now it's going to be a different topic, right? And you'll have a different set of options, but it's very similar. The standards of grading for grading this assignment is the same as for the first discussion. All right, and so now we're moving to week 5, and this is kind of like the midpoint of the term, if you will, even though technically it's a week past the midpoint, but because spring break is the second week of the B term, this is kind of like our midpoint. And so we have our first test, test 1, which is worth 100 points, and there will be over several chapters. Keep in mind, this test is administered via Honor Lock, so you're definitely going to want to make sure you do the Honor Lock practice quiz prior to taking the test. And the test will stay open for 3 to 5 days, depending on our class. You'll have a group check-in. This is just to make sure you and your group are working on the project on your own, right? But this will be an individual assignment telling me about the group. So when I say group check-in, you will let me know how you and your group members are faring behind the scenes. All right, then we have Discussion 3, which is similar to the previous discussions, just a different topic. And then Achieve 4. And again, Achieve 4 will be very similar to the previous Achieve, just a different topic. And there you have it. All right, so the last 3 weeks of the course. In week 6, you'll have Discussion 4 and Achieve 5, and by now you're a pro at these discussion board activities and the Achieve activities. And then you'll have P3, which is an outline. Now the thing about P3 is it's an outline of the paper, and you're going to want to use APA style, and you're going to use in-text citations within the outline, within the body of the outline. All right, and your reference slide is just going to have a list of your reference and the word reference at the top. You will also have a cover page, but you're not doing a paragraph outline. You're doing an outline that is an alphanumeric outline with keywords and maybe sentences. All right, in week 7, you will have Discussion 5 and Achieve 6. And Discussion 5 is just like the previous discussion, like I said, you're no pro by now. Achieve 6 is a makeup. If you missed 1 week of Achieve assignments, you could go ahead and do this Achieve 6, and it will sub in for whatever you missed, whichever 20 points of Achieve that you missed. So it's pretty much an optional way to earn points in week 7. Now P4 is the final paper, and again, it's going to be an abstract or a summary more than it is an actual paper. So if this paper were to be more formal, like in DEP 2004, if you took me for that class, which is the class that goes after this class, you actually have to write the paper. But in this class, you just limit it to an abstract or a summary. You'll get 50 points. Now, there will be a rubric provided, so you'll know exactly where you earn your points, and I'll give you some tips on how to succeed more specifically on this assignment as we get closer to the date. And then the last thing is the group project. Now, technically, you've been working on a group project since the first day of the class, but for sure, in week 3, when you did your group charter, and then a couple weeks later when you did the group check-in, you and your group have been behind the scenes working on this group project constantly, and now you get to turn it in week 7. Now, in week 8, I share what you and your group members put together with the rest of the class, so everyone can see what you've been up to, and you'll have a chance to comment on your fellow other groups' work, and so you'll get 5 points for participating in that group project discussion. You'll also have a chance to reflect on the entire semester and what you learned over the 8 weeks, and that'll yield 10 points. And last but not least, you'll have your final exam, which is worth 100 points. The final exam is not cumulative. It's basically cumulative from the midpoint to the end, but not from the day 1. Now, if you missed the midterm during this final week, you will also have a chance to make up that first test, that midterm, an alternate version of the test, so that you can still get points. And so from week 6 through 8, that's 325 points. And combine that with the 275 from the first 5 weeks, and that's a total of 600 points. And like I said, if your goal is to get an A in the class, you only need 540 points. Tips to be successful. Okay, so first and foremost, have fun, okay? I know that there's a lot of information that we're discussing, but have fun with it, okay? Ask questions, find a study buddy. You probably want to hammer out your technical difficulties as early as possible because this class is online and it's asynchronous. That means you can work through the assignments at your own pace as long as you meet the deadline. Every week you'll have a deadline, so you definitely need to be aware of that. But reading the syllabus and checking the announcements and reviewing the agendas, watching the videos, these are all things that you want to do to be successful in this class. The answer to frequently asked questions. Most of those frequently asked questions, you know where you can find the answer? In the syllabus. So my suggestion is to review the syllabus. Become one with the syllabus. Read the syllabus. Oh, and by the way, did I mention read the syllabus? And once you've read the syllabus, don't forget to take the syllabus quiz. Au revoir.